Here we go. Hi, hi everyone, and welcome to TWF Friday Night Smackdown. I, Gorilla Monsoon, with Mike Lane and with Wade Barrett. And today on Friday Night Smackdown, first we got to talk about what happened yesterday on Impact or Hit. The TWF light heavyweight winnings withdrawal. James Kurt, the last TWF light heavyweight fighter. You know, Gorilla Monsoon said, and what led to Dolph Ziggler starting the thing that he started yesterday on Impact or Hit. Well, you're right, Mike Lane says. Yesterday was the end of a lifetime. The TWF light heavyweight winnings that have been around in the TWF since between 98, I believe, got withdrawn in 2025, YL. And then again, Mike Lane said the TWF had many straps over its long years of being around. But what I don't understand is why Dolph Ziggler started something with James Kurt. I don't understand that at all. Well, to tell you the truth, Gorilla and Mike, I don't truly know why, Dolph Ziggler would start that. But I can onlook Dolph Ziggler, for, starting something like that. Because when I was wrestling back in the day, FCW, WWE, I was doing things like that too. Not so much in my run in the NWA or my two-whiff run in WWE though. But I can understand though that why he did that. So you think it's right what he did? Is that what you're telling me, Gorilla Monsoon said? Do you think it's right for him to come out and then shame James Kurt? Shame us for saying goodbye to the TWF light heavyweight winnings? Well, that, is truly sad. And here he comes now. Gorilla Monsoon says maybe Dolph Ziggler will tell us why he's doing what he's doing. Well, first off, Dolph Ziggler says, you all want to know why I'm doing what I did. Why I shamed James Kurt, the former TWF light heavyweight fighter. Because I thought I should have been the TWF light heavyweight fighter. That I should have been the last one to hold the TWF light heavyweight winnings. I'm not saying that I would have been a great TWF light heavyweight fighter. Hell, I'm not even saying that I would have been a great one. But I know that I would have done a lot more with it than the so-called lead men of the Starship Enterprise, which is a French's bar waiting for his business. I knew I would have done a lot more than him. So that's why I did what I did. Well, here comes James Kurt now. Gorilla Monsoon said maybe Dolph Ziggler can say all that shit to his leer. Well, you would hope so, Mike Lane says. You would hope that Dolph Ziggler would be bold enough to say all those things to his leer. Well, Wade Barrett said unless he's a chicken shit heel, what some heels are, he won't be bold enough or fearless enough to say any of that to his leer. So, you did all that to me yesterday because since you believe you would have made a greater TWF light heavyweight fighter, and it should have ended with you instead of some, Paramount Global, Paramount World Star Trek self. Is that what you're saying? Now, Dolph Ziggler, you have made quite a name for yourself for what you did in Kent Reich when you were a beginner wrestler, all the things you did in WWE, well, your first run, two-whiff run in your free with run. And the things you're doing in TNA now, I'm not going to go take away all the things you did, because you were a 2-time world heavyweight fighter. You were at least a 5-time or a 6-time WWE Interland Body fighter, 2-time WWE 4-1 Right fighter, and you at least won the WWE Tag Team winnings, I guess. The WWE Tag Team wins and World Tag Team winnings at least once. You won Gal in the Boundary one year. You're a former TNA heavyweight fighter. So no, I'm not going to go, put you down or anything, because you did a lot of good things. But not showing me any onlook, not coming out and showing onlook for a strap that many wrestlers won over the years. Some of them light heavyweights, some of them not. Yeah, Dolph Ziggler said, because I know James Kurt, I would have made a greater TW, I would have made greater. And I should have been the last TWF light heavyweight fighter, not you. And what are these great wrestlers you speak of who won the strap? Chris Jericho? Yeah, I guess I'll give that to you. Crash Holly? Nah. Shane Kamicki? Darren Drozoff? Xena? Midian? Andre the Ethel, who wasn't even a light heavyweight? I mean, come on, there were many folks that... Bray Wyatt? Are you kidding me? Like all these folks out there, whoever won the TWF light heavyweight winnings, and you're going to say that you should have been that I should have been the last one to ever hold that one. Yeah, well, there were many folks who held out winnings, and you left out a lot of names. Some of them well known, some of them not well known, I guess. Well, how about you just show everyone what the greatest wrestler in the world you think you are? Because I won't mind taking the 2-time world heavyweight fighter and 1-time TNA heavyweight fighter to learn. If you don't mind being learned, by a Star Trek self. Well, D&D, looks like this match is going to happen now. It looks like we got this match that happened. Oh, and this time, James Kurt ended up, seeing it happen. And this time, he ended up flipping Dolph Ziggler. And now Dolph Ziggler apparently, most likely believes that he should have been the last TWF, light heavyweight fighter. Gorilla Monsoon says, so that's his forgiveness for doing what he's doing? Give me a break. Well, Dolph Ziggler, if he was hardly wise, you thought he would have come up with a really good answer. And that seems to be the only answer we're going to get. Mike Lane says, for why Dolph Ziggler did all the things that he did. Oh, and why should Liebman James Kurt get any onlook? I mean, yes, he was in all the free followings of when Star Trek many years ago, but he hasn't done all the same cool shit that Dolph Ziggler has done. Wade Barrett says, and I do think Dolph Ziggler would have made, a greater TWF light heavyweight fighter in the last one. Well, you have no truth to make that be true. That's your belief, Wade Barrett. But I don't think Dolph Ziggler would have made a great one. That's his belief. He has no truth to it. Gorilla Monsoon says, he just wanted to be a creep. And there isn't really any forgiveness for being a creep, Gorilla Monsoon said. So would you stop, Wade Barrett? Well, now Mike Lane says Dolph Ziggler is getting ready to do the overkick. And you know that he's not the first wrestler to ever overkick, folks. Both Shawn Michaels and Steven Richards were both known for overkicking, folks. Here we go. Oh! And now Dolph Ziggler thinks he's all that, Mike Lane says. Gabriel Monsoon says Dolph Ziggler's done the overkick, something that Shawn Michaels and Steven Richards did as well. So I don't think he should say he does the great, and the zigzag right down on him again. Well, I think that Dolph Ziggler does a great overkick. Maybe even greater than Shawn Michaels and Steven Richards ever did. Wade Barrett says. Well, then you know what? Would you stop saying Dolph Ziggler's overkick is greater than the overkick of Shawn Michaels and the overkick of Steven Richards? That's kind of sad. Dolph Ziggler came up. And Captain James Kurt now is gonna get the upper hand on Dolph Ziggler. Down. It's over, Gorilla Monsoon says. 1, 2, 3. Meaning, here is your winner, Leadman James Kurt. Well, Leadman James Kurt this time got a little even on Dolph Ziggler for what happened on yesterday on Impact, or Hit, Gorilla Monsoon says. But we can tell that Dolph Ziggler is not going to be happy about any of that, Gorilla Monsoon says. Well, Wade Barrett, Mike Lane says, Gorilla Monsoon, Dolph Ziggler is irked, he's angered that he is not a TWF, light heavyweight fighter, and will not be seen as the last TWF light heavyweight fighter. That on goes to James Kurt, Mike Lane says. I can tell you one thing, Wade Barrett says, if they ever do choose to bring that strap back, which I don't think they ever will, because the TWF has so many straps, I think that if they would bring it back, I think that Dolph Ziggler should have been the last one, Wade Barrett says, to hold it. Well, that is your thought, and that is your belief, but you have no truth to it, Wade. Now we're going to take it away now to Tony Schiavone. Stand up. Stand up. Alright, I can't stand up. Alright, Gorilla Monsoon, I'm going to be talking now with Dolph Ziggler here today on Friday Night Smackdown. Yeah, I lost my reading glasses. Well, Dolph Ziggler says, you lost your reading glasses, but I need to say, you look more greater without them, and they wouldn't keep on your leer. First off, Dolph Ziggler, you seem to believe you made the greatest of all the TWF light heavyweight fighters, and you were irked or angered that you're not the last one. You got that right, Tony Schiavone. I am truly irked and angered that I'm not the last TWF light heavyweight fighter. I should have been. It should have been me as the last TWF light heavyweight fighter. No, it didn't be. Had to be James Kurt, a Star Trek self. Well, too bad we can't go back in the past, Dolph Ziggler, and shift it where you were the last TWF light heavyweight fighter. But you lost to James Kurt here today, which you say is beneath you. I never said that James Kurt was beneath me. I never said he was. I just said he wasn't a great TWF light heavyweight fighter. That would have been me. So he beat me. But I'll get the last laugh. Because everyone knows if it was either it was OVW or WWE or TNA, I was the showstopper. I was a show stealer. Forgive me, I was a show stealer. And if I was in AEW too, I would steal the show as well. So forgive me. I'll get even on James Kirk, and you have to look around for your reading glasses. Yeah, I do. That's my talk with Dolph Ziggler. Back to you, Gorilla Monsoon. Well, thank you, Tony Schiavone, for talking with Dolph Ziggler here today on Friday Night Smackdown. You know, and hopefully you get your reading glasses back as someone at Jack's didn't know how to put on your Lear right. And it looks like all the time we've got here for Friday Night Smackdown. I, Gorilla Monsoon, with Mike Lane and Wade Barrett. We hope you like Friday Night Smackdown, and we'll see you tomorrow for Collision or Hit.